In the misty lanes of old Kyoto, paper lanterns floated like dreams, glowing softly with the wishes of the night. Welcome, gentle listener, to the world of Japanese folk tales and legends, where tonight we step into the lantern-lit streets of Kyoto, Japan, in the Edo period, where one little girl lit paths with light and hope. Our story begins in the heart of Kyoto, where the Kamo River winds through the city like a silver thread. Beside its banks stood a quiet neighborhood where houses huddled close, sharing stories in hushed whispers. And at the edge of this peaceful community lived a young girl named Suki. She was known throughout the town as the Lantern Girl, not because she made lanterns, but because she sent them floating down the river, each one carrying a silent wish on its paper wings. You see, Suki had a special gift. Every night before sleep, when the moon painted the clouds with silver and the stars glittered like fallen diamonds, she would fold tiny paper lanterns and send them sailing up the Kamo River. Each lantern held a secret wish, a silent plea for happiness whispered by the wind itself. But what made these lanterns truly magical wasn't their delicate beauty or the soft glow that emanated from within, but the uncanny way they found their way to those who needed them most. For you see, as the lanterns glided through the star-dusted night, they seemed to have a mind of their own. They'd rest near a doorway where an elderly neighbor sat alone, a small smile gracing her wrinkled face as she watched the dancing flames. They'd pause beside a weathered fisherman mending his nets, offering him a moment solace in the quiet hum of the river and the gentle flicker of the light. Or they'd drift to the moss-covered temple, finding peace in the ancient stones and silent prayers. The townspeople were baffled, whispering of spirits and sorcery. Yet deep down, they knew it was something more, something pure and heartwarming that brought a sense of comfort and hope to their everyday lives. One evening, as the first stars began to peek through the indigo sky, Suki sat by her window, watching the river flow like a ribbon of liquid moonlight. Beside her lay a stack of freshly folded lanterns, each one ready to carry a new wish upon its back. A warm breeze caressed her cheeks, whispering tales of the day as she dipped a paintbrush into a jar of luminous paint. Her nimble fingers moved with practiced ease, folding and shaping the rice paper into delicate vessels. With each fold, she listened intently, as if hearing the secrets the wind carried on its breath. And when the last crease was made, she breathed a silent wish into the lantern's belly, trusting that the wind would carry it to its destination. That night, as the lanterns ascended into the velvety sky, one by one, Suki watched with a serene smile gracing her lips. She didn't know where her lanterns would end up, but she had faith in their journey, just as she had faith in the whispers of the wind that guided their path. One lantern landed softly on the worn steps of an old temple, its gentle light illuminating the moss-covered stones. Inside, a weary traveler seeking refuge from the night's chill found solace in its soft glow. Another drifted to the bank of the river, where a young mother sat, watching her children play. The lantern's light danced in their eyes, reflecting the joy and innocence of their laughter. And yet another found its way to an elderly woman sitting by her window, her wrinkled hands clasped in her lap. The lantern's light chased away the shadows, bringing a sense of warmth and companionship to her quiet evening. As the night deepened, the lanterns continued their silent vigil, becoming beacons of hope and solace in the darkness. Meanwhile, back at her home by the river, Suki snuggled into her blankets, her heart full of quiet contentment. She didn't need to see the results of her nightly ritual. She knew that wherever her lanterns landed, they brought a moment of peace, a flicker of joy in an otherwise ordinary night. Now, word of the mysterious lanterns spread far and wide, reaching the ears of many who longed for a piece of the magic in their lives. Among them was a famous woodblock artist named Hishikawa Morinobu. He was renowned for capturing the essence of life in his art, but lately his pieces lacked the vibrant colors that once brought them to life. Desperate to rediscover his artistic passion, he set out to find the Lantern Girl, hoping her unique connection to the world could reignite his own creativity. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the city, Morinobu stood at the edge of Suki's neighborhood, his eyes searching for any sign of the elusive Lantern Girl. He wandered through the quiet streets, his gaze lingering on the houses with their paper walls adorned with blooming cherry blossoms. The air was thick with the scent of cherry blossoms, mingling with the gentle murmur of the Kamo River as it flowed past. Finally, as he turned toward the riverbank, he saw her, the Lantern Girl, sitting serenely as she folded another one of her magical lanterns. Morinobu's heart skipped a beat. In that moment, he realized that he hadn't just found the Lantern Girl. He'd stumbled upon a living embodiment of art, Suki's devotion to her craft. The way she poured her heart and soul into every lantern resonated deeply with the artist's own aspirations. He felt a surge of inspiration, a long-forgotten passion rekindled within him. Gathering his courage, Morinobu approached Suki, introducing himself with a slight bow. Suki, ever polite, returned his greeting with a gentle smile. She didn't know who he was, but sensed the sincerity in his eyes. As the night deepened, Morinobu sat beside Suki, watching her create her magical lanterns. He observed how her fingers danced over the paper, how her eyes glistened with the joy of creation. In her simple act of folding lanterns, he saw a dedication to her craft that mirrored his own. When Suki noticed him watching, she tilted her head in curiosity. She sensed that this visitor was different, that he, too, had a story to tell. As the sky turned into a canvas of twinkling stars, Morinobu finally voiced the thoughts that had been swirling in his mind. He explained how his art had lost its color, how he'd come to seek the Lantern Girl's wisdom in hopes of reigniting his creative spark. Suki listened intently, her gaze unwavering. When he finished, a thoughtful expression crossed her face. She pondered for a moment, the soft glow of the lanterns illuminating the determination in her eyes. Then, in a voice as gentle as the rustling leaves, she spoke. "Perhaps," she said, "the colors you seek are not in the world around you, but within you." Her words hung in the air between them, carrying a weight of meaning that transcended their young age. Suki reached out, her small hand resting on Morinobu's arm. "Fold a lantern," she said, her eyes shining with quiet confidence, "and let your heart guide your fingers." Morinobu stared at his hands, surprised by the tears that welled up. Touched by Suki's innocent wisdom and her unwavering belief in him, he nodded slowly. Taking a deep breath, he reached for a piece of paper, his fingers trembling slightly as he began to fold. It was as if Suki's words had unlocked something within him, releasing a torrent of emotions he'd been holding back. With each fold, he felt the colors returning to his world, not just in art, but in life as well. As the night wore on, Morinobu and Suki sat side by side, folding lanterns and sharing stories. The river flowed past, carrying their laughter and whispered secrets into the darkness. By the time the first rays of sunlight began to touch the horizon, Morinobu felt reborn. The colors he'd been missing weren't in the world around him, but within him all along. and he had the lantern girl of Kyoto to show him the way. Before leaving, Morinabu presented Suki with a small wooden box. Inside lay a set of paints, their colors as vibrant as his renewed spirit. He hoped they'd bring a splash of joy into her life, just as her lanterns had brought light into his. With a grateful smile, Suki accepted the gift, promising to use them to create beautiful lanterns. She watched as Morinobu walked away, his shoulders straighter, his steps lighter, and she knew she'd played a part in his journey back to happiness. And so the legend of the Lantern Girl of Kyoto continued, a beacon of hope and healing in a world that often forgot the beauty of simplicity.